Hiya, and welcome back to Password, the game that teaches us that Tyson probably shouldn't have a meat hook. He probably shouldn't. Anyways, let's just hop right in. Tyson died outside. A bunch of marks were on his body. Dean was quick to rule out something from the greenhouse as a weapon, and it seemed to mostly be down to wildlife at that point. That being said, Ty seemed pretty keen on not wanting to mess with animals. So whatever got him was able to do all those cuts in one go, or at the least, that ran next to each other. And if him leaving meant that he was going to show up later that day, or even the day after, he probably wouldn't be desperate enough to try hunting. Seriously, it's just the Barbie song. You don't gotta time him out for it. You don't gotta time him out for it. Besides, like Dean said, he'd come back. Which leaves us with who as a suspect. Getting rickrolled is hilarious, though. I looked at everyone carefully in the room. Was one of them a potential killer? Who would kill Ty? Disliking him was one thing, but taking it to the point of killing him? I think the only one who would do that is, the Bacon. Who would take it to the point of murder. It is snowing outside, and I do not appreciate it. I do not appreciate the fact that it is snowing. I do not appreciate it. I threw my notebook down on the bed and collapsed next to it. Ugh. That good, huh? Ty! What are you groaning for? Just stuff. I don't think I've gotten very far. Well, shit. Sorry to hear that. How'd your talk with Dean go this morning? Fine. And you talked about guy stuff. Like, none of your business, doesn't concern you. What if I go ask Dean? He won't tell you either. I told him not to tell you. Why? Were you talking about me? No. I just knew you'd ask because you're a brat that wants to know what's going on. But what's wrong with that? Just let me have my secrets. I don't have to tell you everything. Fine. Ty came over to the bed, kicking the door to the bedroom closed behind him. Yeah, hiya. That worried, huh? What if someone dies, Ty? What if you die? What about if you die? Hiya. Who is that? Who is that? Yeah, whomst. Hang on, Ninzio, is that you? Wait, Ninzio? Ninzio? Maestro? What about if you die? That won't happen. No shit, it won't happen. I won't let it. Point is, just relax a bit. You're looking out for everyone. They're looking out for you. It'll be fine. Okay, but you think there's gonna be a fucking slaughter just because you forgot to check in with someone? Well, no, but then stop stressing out about it. Hell yeah. You're stressing me out just watching. You can't do shit. Just take a nap or something. I don't think I want to sleep just yet. That's a first. What? But I'm going to offer to cuddle you first? No, I'm just not tired. I have too much on my mind. Oh, no. Like, what I do is I first check how many messages you've sent, which I can do just by clicking on your username. I can check how many messages you've sent. And that gives me a very rough idea of who is speaking, just based on messages. Like for example, if I were to check Amethyst, he has sent over 1,000 messages. he has sent over 1,000 messages. Yep, magic. Just not tired? I have too much on my mind. And you're on the bed anyway. It's comfy! Ty sighed out and sat down next to me before falling onto his back. I turned my head to the side to watch him, and his expression didn't seem to shift. Hey. What? You scare me sometimes, you know that? I'm not that scary. You know what? Sure, you're right. We lay there in silence for a bit longer before I spoke up again. Do you still need help with dinner? Probably not, but you can help if you want anyway. I think I'd like that. And after... Sharing a bed, right? Tyson just nodded and put his hands on his chest, staring at the ceiling. Do you think it'd help if we, if we what? You know. No? Fucked? What? Oh! Well... I chuckled, looking away for a second before letting my eyes sit on Tyson again. He hadn't moved from staring at the ceiling, but the fact he hadn't cracked a smile meant he was serious. Really? Yeah. I don't know, Just putting the offer out there. We're sharing a bed, so... Wait, you meant right now? Nope, later. Why? Don't tell me you're horning up now. I mean, you started it, but like, what about kissing? Isn't that what you do before you... You know. Ty sat up, scratching his neck and moving to rub his face. Not always. What do you mean? Nothing, just don't worry about it. Look, you want to hang for a bit or do you want to be left alone? Still got time before I need to get dinner started. Stay with me? Doing what? Anything, just don't leave right now, Ty. You're such a pain. Let's go watch a movie. If you're lucky, I'll give you brushing too. I didn't end up getting that brushing, but I did spend the better part of the afternoon tucked underneath Ty's arm as we watched a movie. Ty and I wandered downstairs when it was time to cook and we sized up the kitchen together. Okay, so... burgers. Yep. Do you know how to make burgers? Whoa. Does Tyson not know how to make a burger? Does this fucker not know how to make a burger? Well, yeah, we just meat, pan, sizzle. Hooray, burger! Alright, cool. So grab me an onion and I'll get to work putting this stuff together so we can get cooking. Kind of wish there was an outdoor grill, though. I have a story about this, about cooking burgers. Me, Star, Sam, and a couple other friends, we all went camping. This was earlier this year. We all went camping. And, the second day, I was cooking lunch. And I kinda, sorta, almost lit the woods on fire. I almost lit the woods on fire. Yeah. And because I also dropped a hot dog into the fire, I wasn't allowed to cook. So, yeah. Yeah. Alright, cool. So, grab me an onion and I'll get to work putting this stuff together so we can get cooking. Kind of wish there was an outdoor grill, though. No, I didn't. I managed to get the fire out. Which was amazing. What, like, back home? Nothing beats a good barbecue. It's been a while since. Anyway, I guess it's been a while. Maybe when you get back? What? Like, let's have a welcome home barbecue when you're back from the trip. You could do burgers and hot dogs and just, I don't know, we can make a thing of it. You know, yeah, let's do it. It'll be another reason to come home too, huh? Yeah, plus it means I can practice so you're not the one using the grill all the time. What? Preparing for when you're a housewife? I'll have you know that it's the man's job to do the barbecue. What? Gonna make me cook after I get back from my trip? You're lucky you're family. Otherwise I'll be asking for something as payment. I did a double take, huffing as Ty laughed it off, shaking his head. For the briefest of moments, I thought he meant something else, but Maybe that's exactly what he wanted in order to rile me up. Ziglizzy. Oh no. The vault works through trauma. What if it's Sal? Is there a pattern? Yes. It's a massacre. It's a massacre. Death. So. Ah! Ty! What's got you so jumpy? I'm just tired, that's all. You get your ass into bed. I will. Hold up. What's with the face? What face? You look like you got busted doing something you didn't. What'd you do? I grumbled, sitting down on the bed while Ty closed the door to the bedroom behind him and coming over to join me. I got the vault to work again. I sorta wish I didn't. No shit? What'd you see? Sal killing, damn. So you... When I confronted Sal about it, yeah, he didn't take it well, but Dean's looking out for him now. What? You went up and told him not to kill anyone? How'd you expect that to go? Better than how it did? So I got caught up in the moment of just trying to stop what I saw from happening that, it'll probably be fine in the morning. Just say you're sorry, give the lug a cuddle or something, and it'll be fine. You really think that's all it'll take? Hiya, and wow! Good lord! Happy belated birthday! Good lord! My god! Wow! That is... That is certainly a wall of text. You really think that's all it'll take? Fuck if I know. Not much you can do about it now, though. Yeah, I guess you're right. For real, though. You okay? I guess just tired now. Can we just, sleep? Ty sighed out, shaking his head. You're hopeless, but yeah, just sleeping is fine. Even if you wanted to, dude, don't worry about it. There will be other chances, maybe. I don't know. Ty got up to switch off the light before heading over to the other side of the bed and getting in. Sorry if I just find it, a little scary. Dave? Get in the damn bed and get some sleep! You're overthinking things. Okay, you're right, sorry! I stripped down to my underwear and got into bed next to Ty. Neither of us moved at first before Ty slid an arm under my pillow and pulled me to him, making his chest a makeshift pillow. It was usually the other way around, but the steady thumping of his heart put me at ease. As I yawned against him, he gently rubbed my arm until I was out like a light. He is problematic, though. Just totally ignoring the fact that I got my neighbor Totoro playing behind me. Hammond Manor, a bed that I was for the most part slowly becoming used to. But the one thing I was used to was the wolf next to me, sprawled out on his back seemingly at peace. No, it's because you're fucking running a goddamn construction crew. No shit. Also, what the hell bailing on me this morning? Fucking had me worried. What were you doing this morning? Oh, nothing. Just something he and I do sometimes. Ty made a show of grinding a knuckle into my head, but it was more a massage, and he knew exactly where to touch. He sat it down carefully in front of me and caught my eye, flashing me a small smile. It made me feel something, but after a moment, it was gone. He was wandering further down the table with his own mug. Oh, shit. Oh, shit! He is onto them. Orlando knows something. Was Tyson alright with this? I liked what we had, but what if he changed? What if he became someone that I no longer recognized? I lingered a little longer on Tyson, that feeling returning in my chest. It hurt in a good way, but for the most part just made me sick. Just one more, come on!
Sure, just don't go complaining when you lose.
It's time to drink water.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
Surprise, motherfucker.
It's time to drink water.
I sat the controller down, not even sure what we're playing anymore. Haas seemed to follow suit, wandering over to the side to look through what other things the room had. Haas, where are you going? That and this too. Sort it out. Looking at how things were going with the other two, it seemed they were both furiously mashing buttons to do something. A bunch of flashing lights were happening on the screen, and it was a bit hard to keep track of what was happening. But eventually, the screen flashed that Tyson had won, and he huffed out, pleased with himself despite the score now being tied. Button masher.
Reminder to praise by King Haas.
Sorry. Didn't hear that over the sound of me winning! Russell wanted to say something, but resolved himself to crossing his arms over his chest and sulking. God, they really were similar. So, what happens now? We're watching anime. Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, I was kinda, having fun.
Well, count me out. I looked at Tyson, tilting my head in confusion when I noticed he was looking at me. Oh, come now, Tyson, don't be like that. Calm down, it's not like that at all. I just need a break.
Well, that's all. Mind if I take one too?
Neither of you are coming back if you take a break. Calling it now.
I feel like I should come back now. Just to spite you.
Once again, I caught him looking at me, jerking his head towards the door quickly. I might be back. Dunno, just need a break for a bit. It's probably about time for lunch anyway, right? Ah, good point.
I mean it. I'll stick around to watch some anime. Could do with something, lower energy after that.
He headed downstairs, but the moment I touched down on the tiles of the ground floor, Ty started dragging me towards the back door. Russell glanced at us over his shoulder, curious, but Haas ushered him towards the dining room all the same. Ty closed the door behind him quietly, and I wandered over to the railing where he had joined me the morning before. Ty... He sighed out, shaking his head. Some morning, huh? I don't... Putting up with Roswell, Haas. Didn't think I'd have to put up with you as well. Hang on, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Wait, put up with? What do you mean? You know exactly what I mean, pup. I searched his face before sighing out. Even if it was a bluff, I came clean. Yeah, okay. Sorry. No, you're not. I am, really. It's just... No, you're not. You've been doing that pushing everything down bullshit again. Zoning out more, and it's fucking stupid. So you have two options right now. Tell me what's going on with you, or don't. But if you don't tell me, then you're on your own. Wait, but I thought you had my back. I do. Not going to force it out of you if you don't want to share, though. Gotta come clean about it yourself. I whined, scratching my head. Tyson, it's not that easy. Bullshit, it's not that easy. You're just not wanting to upset anyone. He grabbed me roughly and pushed me back against the railing of the deck. So, I'm gonna ask again. What's going on with you? Let them die. Tell me, Dave! The voice that echoed through my head drowned out what pain I felt from Tyson digging into my shoulders as he held me. Without asking, he backed off, shaking his head. Forget it, I'm going inside. Realized what I was doing, I reached out and grabbed his hand, trembling. No, wait! Tyson's ears flicked as he looked back to me, waiting. You're right, I don't want to upset anyone, but... I breathed in deep, my grip on his hand tightening a little more. I know what I want. What? I held my gaze on him, hoping he'd be able to piece it together without me needing to say. Well, you know. What, not tired now? Is you telling me how you want to spend the afternoon? What? Oh, no, well, no, but... That nervous laughter came out again, and I yanked my hand away from his, burying it into my pocket. Then what? You know, have you ever thought seriously about that one thing? What thing? Stop being fucking vague. Going on a date? Eating food together? He sighed, shaking his head. We're doing this again? Well, why not? because you haven't been listening if I have to explain this to you again. I'm not gay. But, I don't know what I am, but just... He grumbled, running his hands through his fur while his gaze met the floor. He scratched and tugged for a few moments before glancing at me, his tone quiet. I just don't know. How do you know you're not gay then? What? Yeah, like, maybe you are and you just don't know it? He started growling, wandering over to stand next to me and lean on the railing. Can't be. So, you like girls too? He was quiet, looking far off somewhere in front of him. I mean, the options seem nice if you like girls as well, or maybe just girls because there's more girls that like guys and guys that like other guys, you know? I was filling the silence with sound to stop myself from laughing, but I was panicking something fierce under the surface. Dave? Do me a favor and shut up. Whining, I did as he said before shrinking into my shoulders. It'd be easy if it was like that. Sure as hell would feel a lot more normal. You don't feel normal? He shot me a look unimpressed. The fuck do you think? You seem normal enough to me. Well, thanks, I guess. I have your dad to thank for that, I think. How come? He pulled his phone out of his pocket, looking at it before looking to me uncertain. Just stuff he used to say. Stuff that, you know, still seems kind of weird. Like... He continued staring off into the distance, mouth slightly agape while he mouthed the words, almost running through them himself before speaking them. That I deserved love, that I wasn't bad, that it's alright to make mistakes. You know, normal bullshit stuff. It's not bullshit, though, that's just how it is, isn't it? Yeah, and you've seen what my dad is like. Right, yeah. Hell, I had it figured out way before I had the talk, but I assumed I'd get it from my old man instead of yours. Dad gave you the talk? Yeah. And? No, nothing, just, I don't know, I guess I never thought about it. He taught me to drive, taught me a whole bunch of stuff, but now what? And to figure this shit out on my own? You still got me? Maybe I could help? Not on this. Not when you're the problem. What? What did I do? Nothing, don't worry about it. No, really, cause if I did something wrong, I could just... He was staring me down and I felt small. One day I'll have this figured out. One day. And until then, what am I meant to do? Can you just... This isn't about you, Dave. We've been over this. But if you're family to me and family is meant to look out for one another and you've got my back and all these things just make me feel like I'm letting you down by not knowing what to do. You're not letting me down.
Has been discovered.
If anything, I'm letting myself down. I should know how to do this. I'm the older one. His stomach growled and he glanced downwards at briefly. We should get lunch. Okay, sure. Yeah. Lunch. What are you doing after lunch? I don't know. Haas and Ross will be watching anime, so there goes that. You could join them. Could, but I just want to spend some time with you. Alone. Having sex? No wonder you and Dean get on. Nah, figured we could do something, I don't know. Well, what about if we went for a swim? I guess that works. We could do something else if that's not enough. Nah, just hanging out will be good. As long as you don't care about me just sunbaking for a lot of it. We wandered back inside and I felt just as mixed as before. If Ty was bothered about anything anymore, it didn't show. He went in, grabbed some sandwiches, and wandered upstairs to get changed. Or more accurately, I wandered upstairs to change into my swimming trunks while Tyson watched. I wouldn't have thought anything of it normally, as he was just sorta around whenever I did anything. But now, then after what he did after he pulled me into his room, I wasn't so sure. When we got to the pool, Ty unlatched the gate and held it open for me, wandering in behind. I sat my towel down over one of the deck chairs and looked around. Seemed as though the swimming lesson went over all right, but we must have missed the others while I was changing. Ty, are you going to swim at all, or... No? How come? The water is fine, and, the weather seems okay too, right? For now, sure. He gestured upwards with his thumb before folding his arms back over his chest. Gonna get rain tonight, I think. Just a feeling I have. Oh, well, I didn't check for any forecast, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, that's no surprise. Gonna go swim now, or... I mean, I guess... Tyson, I'm starting to think that you don't want to spend time together. I do. I'm just gonna sunbake. But then why am I swimming by myself? Just stop being a brat and leave me alone! I stood there staring at him, confused. But I thought... Ty wandered over to me, placing his hands on my shoulders. You want to know so bad? Well, yeah, I care about you. He flinched, digging into my shoulders a little tighter. When you're around, things just stop, you know? In my head. I tilted my head at him, not sure what he meant. I don't know what it is, just having you nearby makes things less crazy, like I can focus. Looking up at him, he seemed calmer, if only a little. Scary but familiar, calm but unsure. This was the Tyson I knew, but maybe I didn't know him as well as I thought I did. Are you sure that's all I need to do? Just be around? Yeah, but just not all the time, so please, just let me be around you for a bit. Okay, sure, Ty. He flashed me a quick smile before backing off, taking a few steps back before turning completely to head to one of the deck chairs. I watched the gentle sway of his tail drooping ever so slightly. The way his shoulders moved, stiff as if sore or maybe just trying to put on a brave front. Ty? He stopped, looking over his shoulder at me. What? I like having you around too. I caught the briefest smile crossing his face before he wandered off proper and lay down. As for me, I slid into the water. It was cool but pleasant, reminding me of when all of us went to the beach. I say all of us, but it was just Dad, Ty, and myself. Mom couldn't make it, but I remembered it was shortly after Ty got his license. He was nervous as Dad decided that he should drive, and he was worried about crashing the car and what that'd mean for us if it did happen. We got to the beach fine, and Dad did the drive back, but Tyson? He sat in the back seat with me, pretending to be asleep, but he didn't let my hand go. Not once. I looked over to him, and he seemed to be asleep, sprawled out on his back under the sun. Did he love me? Was this what it was? Well, kinda like Dad, but different. Or was it just what being brothers was like? Sliding out of the pool, I wandered over a little closer to check on him. He was sleeping, calm and relaxed. I was a little jealous. But I moved over to the hot tub and turned it on, sitting down in the bubbling water, just letting time escape me. Hey. Next thing I knew, Ty was sitting down next to me. His pants rolled up to his knees as he just let his feet sit in the water. Hey, how was sunbaking? Fine, I guess. How's swimming? Fine, water was nice. Ty grunted and we just quietly sat together. He didn't seem to budge, shy of occasionally scratching himself or looking around. Ty? What? His tone made it clear that maybe I wasn't meant to be asking anything. And just being quiet, but all the same, I wanted to talk with him. You ever think about, I don't know, how things were back home? I try not to. Meant my home, with Dad. I know, and my answer is the same. Don't you miss him? Of course I fucking miss him! I just don't like thinking about it. Just like you. I don't... He pulled out his phone and did something, flicking through something before showing me a picture. It was a shot of all three of us, taken by Dad with Ty's phone. See? Seeing all of us there, happy, made my heart sing. Sure, Mom wasn't in the picture, but this was still a good memory. Don't gotta think about it when I've got you here. But then, why leave? He sighed and shoved his phone back into his pocket, and in one motion he pulled himself out of the hot tub. I'm not getting into it again. Not now. But if not now, when? Later. When later? Tonight, when we're in bed? He began to shake, refusing to look at me. Ty, sleep by yourself tonight. Now you're just pissing me off. I tell you one thing, you don't listen to me. You want to talk, but what's the point if you're not going to listen? But I'll listen, you're just not wanting to tell me. Yeah? And why do you think that is with your fucking dumb smile that makes you feel things and just... He trailed off, catching himself in what he just said. Fuck! Why does talking to you have to be so difficult now? It was fine before. If we're back home, we just... And then... Order pizza and cuddle? Right, and... Then fall asleep. Yeah, but... And then we'd make pancakes in the morning. He spun around to stare at me. Eyes wild in a mix of emotions. His voice came over harsh if accusatory, eyes narrowing. What are you getting at? Well, I mean, I like doing that. I like having that time together, but... Did you really not feel anything back then? Tyson's jaw clenched as he looked me over before muttering something just barely a whisper. fuck you. I'm not your fucking boyfriend. Stop making it out to be like with some married couple. Because you're not gay. He seemed to relax when I said it. Hearing someone else say it was what he needed to hear. Look, I don't hate you, but damn, Dave, do you piss me off sometimes. I didn't mean to. I don't even know what I did. I'm just trying to understand. Yeah, well, when I understand, maybe I'll tell you. Right now, leave me the fuck alone. Please. I was stunned as he turned and walked away. He had his fists balled up, so he had his fists balled up tight, and he was shaking as if he were crying. Not once did he turn around so I could see, though. Just give up, Dave. Let whatever happens happen. He fumbled with the gate and left me there in the tub, alone. An emptiness in my chest made itself known and I felt hollow, almost sick. Looking down into the water, I wondered why I wasn't crying, to the point I was subconsciously touching my face. Had I just forgotten how to cry, or had what just happened not even registered as something to make me sad? Had I moved right past sad into shock? Ty was important to me, as a brother, as someone who I looked up to, especially now that Dad was gone. Mom didn't like him, though, so maybe that's why I felt conflicted. For so long, he'd been a part of my life that I'd never really questioned how much he took care of me, that I didn't really know how to take care of him back. Everything that I did know was just what I assumed was normal, or that Dad did for me, but Tyson was just different. The water, despite bubbling around me, didn't feel relaxing anymore. It just felt uncomfortable. Each bubble crawling against the skin under my fur, while the inside of my head screamed with bad thoughts. What if I let Tyson die? Would I be happier or sadder? What would everyone else feel? How would I feel? My stomach lurched the moment I thought about it. Losing Tyson would be devastating. But something deep down made me wonder if he'd be just as devastated if I were to die. I fucking love an L. Who's getting injected? An L? I don't think an L is able to be injected. I don't think that's an option. And even then, it might kill her, so no. But seriously, who? Oh, hiya. Oh no, I am up to date. Believe it or not, I know you all have been playing Smash or Pass. Y'all have been playing Smash or Pass. Okay, we got... But seriously, who's getting injected? Okay, we got one for Dave. Got another for Dave. Fuck it, we're getting injected. If it's just saline solution, just inject me. Fair warning, it will sting a little bit like any other injection. I nodded and he took up the injector, shifting closer and sighing out. It helps if you focus on wriggling your toes while I do this. You might not even notice it happening. Without waiting, he gently pressed the end of the gun against my neck and pulled the trigger. Made it sound like air escaping before I realized what was happening, my attention having been drawn to doing what he suggested I do. All done. I don't really feel all that different. Like I said, it's just a saline solution. You used to use it to dilate medicines or treat dehydration, but it might take a while for you to feel a little more perky, if at all. I don't know. I almost have zero control over what happens in chat. I'm just fucking vibing. Poor Tyson. He was struggling with it as much as I was. But he was always the one between the two of us that was stronger, or at least more protective. Maybe it was a wolf thing? What I remembered of him and Dad interacting, though, maybe he was just trying to copy how to be a good person, or maybe it was something else entirely. He said he missed my dad as well, and no wonder given how often he'd be around and be asking for advice on stuff. Wondered if I should have been paying more attention on what advice he was getting, because it felt lacking now, more than ever. I found myself in my kitchen, just as empty as the rest of the house. Would have said that having Tyson around might have been fine, but even he was planning on leaving. Hi, Bacon. I upset Tyson today. Roswell fidgeted next to me but kept quiet. He misses my dad too, and I don't know. I feel so confused.
So, the ghost thing.
Dad would know what to do. What I wouldn't give to just see him again and ask him something. I flinched as I said it, near immediately thinking back to the dreams I'd been having and how lacking they felt compared to the real thing.
I think that's to be expected. I don't want to pretend to know what it's like to be in your shoes, Dave, but I don't think there's, well...
He scratched his chin before resting his head on the table.
He seemed off at dinner. Even Haas couldn't get him to talk about anything, but he pulled Dean aside for a bit. Didn't come back, though.
Oh. Yay, depression. We try to bitch smack Benson. Why do we try to bitch smack Benson? Ty. There was a tightness in my chest whenever I thought of him now. Something that was different from when we used to just hang out. Back then it was just nice, different from hanging out with Orlando, different from Roswell, different from Dean or Haas too. But now the feeling was more intense, almost like, do I love Ty? The revelation was enough to make me stop and look around the woods. Of course I loved Tyson, he was like a brother, but was I in love with him? There was a dull throb that came after me voicing it out. It helped somewhat, but the feeling was only replaced with something else. You're not gay, but you date me, so what does that mean? When my thoughts turned to how he had said that if I wanted to have sex, I just needed to ask. But at the same time, anytime kissing had come up, he'd shut down. And thinking of shutting down reminded me of yesterday. Sighing out, I continued my trek down to the main road. Ty wasn't my boyfriend, but if he was, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. We basically were already, right? The only thing would be breaking the news to Dean. Tyson stared at me briefly, staying quiet despite being the one that guided me over here. What's wrong? You're not going to say anything, Tyson? I'm getting to it. Well, I'm sorry. Ty reached out for my shoulder, giving it a squeeze. He was usually able to make me feel comforted, but with his eyes looking off somewhere else, it felt very impersonal. Shit, we can't ask any more questions. We can't ask Oswin any more questions. Oh shit. We gotta reread this. As is tradition, we have to reread it. It's fine. What? But you and felt confused. He tore into me for bringing it up, but days later, Haas is getting away with the same thing, no problem. It didn't feel fair. It's not like I'm fucking thrilled over it. I'm just putting up with it for your sake. But Well, I went down, I guess. All about that give and take, right? I went to speak again, but the words caught in my throat. We gotta reread it. We have to reread it, as is tradition. Last time. As I entered, I looked to Benson, who was off to the side, watching as Oswin dug around in the pantry. Pay him no mind, Master Dave. This is just Master Oswin sourcing his own breakfast. He straightened, setting a colorful box on the counter and sighing out. Yep, it's chocolate cake time, Pack. That boy is lucky there was another box. Perhaps this is a sign that you should leave the children's cereal for... The children, sir? I'm a grown man, and if I want sugar cereal for breakfast, then I'll be damned if I can't make that decision freely. But what about your teeth? Or eggs? Eggs? And he does have a point, sir. Scrambled eggs is something manageable. Chocolate cake? Chocolate cake? You're not having chocolate cake for breakfast. Why not? Do you really think that's an appropriate meal choice for first thing in the morning? Why, glad you asked, Benson. I do. Really? Why? I thought cake was for dessert or whatever. Be that as it may, sir. I'm not making you chocolate cake for breakfast. Then sugar cereal? But now we're back to scrambled eggs, right? Did you want eggs, Master Dave? I quickly shook my head, heading over to the coffee machine instead to contemplate if I needed another cup or if I should go without. I will never get over that scene. I will never get over it. There was something about how ice cream tasted whenever we went, though. Something sweeter, or maybe it just reminded me of a happier time as a whole. Fucking right. It takes a lot to not bust out laughing every single time I reread that scene. It takes a lot to just not bust out laughing. What? Oscar meow. I'm not crying, I'm fucking sobbing. I could still hear his voice in my ear, calling me brother, hugging me tight, and just being there for me. The memory of him talking to Dad before he went to work lingered, though. Wondering if now I'd be considered old enough to finally know what sort of stuff they had to talk about. Finding myself downstairs, I looked around the room. I wanted to see Ty again. Not that it was that much of an ask, given he was elsewhere in the same house. But I felt a longing I hadn't been able to shake. Ty. Looking over to the sofa, I saw him sitting there looking stiff. Not that he seemed to be paying me much mind, but just seeing him put me at ease. What? I frowned, realizing the problem with what I was seeing. I just wanted to see you, I think. You dork. Not a dork for loving you, you jerk. Words were out of my mouth before I realized it. My mind filled with Tyson's reply almost immediately, along with the rolling of his eyes and the tired sigh. I'm not gay. I know, Ty, but like... What if you weren't? He didn't say anything, probably because I knew the real Tyson would respond to something like... Didn't know how the real Tyson would respond to something like that now of all times. All I know is that, I don't know, I think you're good enough if you want it to be, you know? Sorry, I guess I just wish I could have this talk with you in person without you getting so defensive. You know how that talk goes, though. You sure you want your heart broken? Dean's a good guy. Well, maybe I don't love Dean, alright? You don't love Dean? Well, we're not, he's... I looked at Ty, uncertain. Dean and I weren't dating so much as I liked him. Maybe that just wasn't enough. Can we talk? In the morning, What do you think? I'd like to think you'd want to talk to me. Then guess you'll have to see in the morning. Then what did you want to do? Sleep maybe, or just lay down? Ty looked at me carefully, his eyes narrowing for a moment before he seemed to clue in to how I was feeling. Alright. I opened my mouth to say something and then shut it again, wondering how best to approach what I wanted to talk to him about given the dream I had. Not to mention things from the past couple days. If there was any hope of me finding out what he and Dad talked about, I'd have to ask him directly. That's assuming he even remembered. But can I let you know later, after breakfast maybe? I think that should be fine. I wouldn't mind watching a movie, assuming Haas isn't using the television upstairs. Better yet, why don't we watch something together? Might find something that we both like. This is going to end up in anime again, isn't it? The moment you find something better than anime to watch, let me know. As I turned away from the back door, I noticed Ty lingering a bit back near the stairs, just watching me. He didn't say anything to indicate he was there, instead just watching. Waiting maybe for me to say something first. I can't do it. Go outside, Did you even want to? Maybe, probably not. I shrugged, skittering towards Tyson before I continued. I'm scared? No shit, you're scared. Don't think anyone would blame you either, Cut himself off, scratching the fur on the back of his neck. What I mean is, I don't. Just don't go wandering out there without telling someone. Don't go out there without telling me, alright? I almost lost you once. Sorry. He approached and carefully wrapped me in another hug. Brief, but after a tight squeeze, I felt a little better. What are you doing out here by yourself? Just thinking, really. I don't know how I should be feeling, but everything feels different now. Not like a bad different or a good different, but just different. Ty didn't seem to understand, instead just frowning as he watched me in silence. What I mean is that I'm wondering if I'm still me, I guess? What that even means after this past year and a half. This is why you bailed before you could let me know for watching shit with Sal and Haas? I blinked, having already forgotten that I'd said that. My bad. No shit. Good to know you're slowly getting back to normal. I don't think I really want to be around a bunch of people today, Ty. I feel embarrassed after yesterday still. He turned to go and I grabbed him quickly by the arm. But, can we hang out today? Just the two of us? Alright, what did you want to do? I didn't get that far, but at the very least I had a dream last night that I want to talk to you about. What kind of dream? Not a bad one, just, I don't know. One that made me want to talk to you about stuff. He sighed, rolling his eyes. If this is about what I think it's about, then I don't really want to rehash what we've already talked about. I nodded slowly, dropping my hand away. I understand. I'll go find someone else to just hang with to keep my mind off it. Tyson's eyes narrowed. I couldn't tell if it was because he was thinking something over, or he was just suspicious of if I was pulling a fast one on him. Groaning, he threw his hands up before lazily letting one of them land casually on my shoulder. Fine! We'll have this talking, but I fucking swear, Dave, this better be the last time. I can't promise that. My reply came fast enough that it made Tyson flinch, looking at me carefully. There are so many things that I barely understand. Sure, I could probably ask Dean or Orlando or Ross or literally anyone smarter than me to explain them. Breathing in deep, I continued, shutting my eyes so I didn't lose my resolve and just saying what I needed to get off my chest. But they're not my family, they're not you. Not only that, but because some of these things are directly about you, that I don't want what other people think when I could ask you about how you feel. When I opened my eyes again, Tyson looked shell-shocked, going to say something every other second but fumbling over what specifically he wanted to say back. So until I understand, I'm going to keep asking you, at the very least because you're the older brother between the two of us, right? Help me understand what's going on. In the next moment, I had one of Tyson's hands around my muzzle, clamping it shut. His voice was brought down low and his gaze averted somewhat. Okay, I get it. Don't make a fucking scene in the middle of the foyer. Wouldn't be surprised if the whole house heard you with the echo. Easing off, he sighed out as I rubbed my face. Meet me in my room in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to word up Sal and Haas that they're watching stuff on their own for however long this takes. Thanks, Ty. It's fine. Don't worry about it. See you in a bit. Ty wandered back into the dining room, but not without pausing to look at me quickly over his shoulder before disappearing out of sight. As he sorted out his plans for the day, I headed up to his room. Looking around, there was a part of me that didn't want to be in here, almost like it was forbidden ground to tread on. But in reality, the moment my eyes fell on his bed, I whined with memories
A
from a week ago.
body has been discovered!
Nothing happened, but they shouldn't have gotten that far. Another thing that we need to talk about at some point. By the time Ty came back, I was still awkwardly standing in the middle of the room. Giving me a funny look, he closed the door behind him and wandered past me to the bed to sit down. You coming? I'm good for now. Why the fuck are you standing there for? You remember a week ago, right? Immediately, his ears drooped, mood deflating. Fuck, right, we could do this in your room if you want. Or literally anywhere else if that's better. No, it's fine, I think that's just one of the things I don't understand. We'll get to that later, though. Carefully, I wandered over to the bed and sat down next to him, frowning. So, I had a dream last night about you. What kind of dream? Well, it was about you being back home, how things would be after we get back from this, well, vacation, I guess. What'd you think they'd be like? Different? Different, sure, like, maybe I'd be dating someone, maybe not. Maybe the others would be around somehow, and maybe it'd just be you and me. Well, you know I want to sort my shit out and bail too, right? That's... I'd forgotten about it in all honesty, making me hang my head and sigh out. Please don't leave too, Ty. If everyone leaves, then where does that leave me? Maybe you should go somewhere too. Maybe hit up the beach and have a decent vacation after this one. You like the beach. I liked the beach because you and Dad were there. If neither of you are around, it just wouldn't be the same, I think. Glancing at him, I noticed him nodding slowly. Guess that's fair. Probably just be a reminder that you're alone, huh? Yeah. That's not the important part, Ty. Then what is? Past few nights, they've all been dreams of Dad, but after yesterday, the only person that I wanted to see most, I felt silly for being so mushy, and I felt my ears burn and cheeks go red under my fur. It was you, so... I could hear before I looked over to him, the steady thumping of his tail against the bed. Look, you said you're not gay, I get that. You then tell me you're not sure, I get that too. But is it bad that I want you to know, for you to be sure? I might not even be your type, and that's cool too, but just... Not knowing makes it hard for me to be able to know what's alright to say and what isn't okay to do, and without it either, it's just very hard to do anything. Breathing in again, I felt myself getting worked up, not in a sad way, but more an annoyed way that made my words come out closer to a bark than I intended. Then we've got everything going on with you and Haas, which is cool, but I feel a little jealous that he was my friend first, but I'm also happy that you have a friend now, but then I'm worried about what happened a week ago now, and just people pushing me towards Dean, and... You don't like Dean? Well, I don't love Dean, Ty. I love... With how suddenly I'd replied, I wasn't aware of what I was saying until I'd almost spilled the beans. You... what? Fuck, if you love someone, then damn, tell them already. Easier said than done. A few moments passed while I figured out what I wanted to say. In the spur of the moment, I could have just confessed right then and there that I loved Ty without being completely sure that was the case. But as I looked at Ty, it seemed he already knew and was struggling to find a way out of the awkward situation I'd put us in. Then, I'll tell them to back off. Wait, what? I'll tell the others to back off from trying to set you up with Dean. Easy. It took a few seconds for me to understand, and I wasn't sure if Ty had missed the point or if he was conveniently giving me an out. I rubbed my face, sighing out and slumping back onto the bed. Now I'm just not sure. It almost felt like we were at home again, laying down next to each other, just hanging out. Be it on the grass of the front lawn, backyard, middle of the living room, or on my bed. Ty, why can't it just be easy to fall in love with someone and just this whole thing sort itself out? Life is shit like that, that's why. No kidding. Even the people that should love you don't always, and it sucks. That's why David ruled so much. You could probably just call him Dad, I think. The thought made me smile, if a little misty-eyed. He would have probably been fine with it. Not until my own dad kicks the bucket, and I hope that piece of shit keels over sooner rather than later. I already know that Ty's dad wasn't the greatest on a whole lot of fronts, but hearing him be so direct about wanting him dead was a first. That's not a nice thing to say, Ty. I don't care! He'd be better off dead so he can't hurt anyone else. Don't want him thinking of coming near you, ever. Either. Was he really that bad? Like, really? Fucking... You saw the house, you saw the alcohol. First, Mom ditched me with him, and he just saw that as an excuse to make me pick up the slack and blame me for her not being around. I was almost bellowing to the ceiling to the point I was considering covering my ears. I could have just reached out for a hand and grabbed it tightly. He seemed content to just keep ranting, although he squeezed my hand back. He'd go at you when you came over, and most days he'll just work to get paid and blow it most of it to get drunk. I'd be dead if it wasn't for you. I didn't... He turned suddenly onto his side to face me, bringing his voice low, although there was still that notable growl in his voice. And then here I am, even now, fucking acting like him because I don't know how to not be a shit person when I just want people to leave me alone. I don't really understand. You know damn well what I'm talking about, Dave. Our eyes met for the briefest of seconds before he looked away, leaving me to puzzle it out myself. What you almost did a week ago. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have even been a thing I'd consider. Like, shit, being in your position was bad enough as it was. He trailed off suddenly, his grip on my hand eased off entirely, and he hung his head between us. I could hear him whimpering softly as he seemed to be recalling something. I was only a kid. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? If what I'm thinking did happen, then that's... I don't even know. It would explain a lot. It would explain a lot with Tyson. I did the only thing I knew how and sat my chin atop his head and rubbed his arm. What could I even say to that? The implication was clear as day, and I feared that if I pushed for more information, I'd lose what ability I had to ignore it. The time ticked by as we just lay like that, motionless. The whimpering died down, and it almost seemed like Tyson had fallen asleep until he spoke up again. You should hate me for that. It wasn't a nice thing to do to me, Ty. If I told any of the others, they'd be out for blood for sure. And you haven't. Because if I did, that'd be abandoning you instead of finding out why it happened. Why you treat me that way. Ty shifted around so that he could place his head atop mine, forcing my nose against his neck rather than arrange us both so we were comfortable. Didn't think you were serious for a few days after that. Even with the gun thing, and Benson just assumed, well, you were thinking about your dad. The Benson thing was different. Losing you as well as Dad would be too much, I think. Right, but you're a fucking idiot, Dave. You stopped me from going into the woods to get shanked, and head on in yourself like you forgot. Now it was my turn to whine, but instead he just shifted a hand onto my shoulder and started rubbing my back. I'm glad neither of us ended up dead, you know? Me too. For another few moments, we just lay there until I prodded him gently in the chest. Why did you get so upset that day that you'd resort to that? Dunno, probably because I was scared that it'd end up hurting you if I stuck around, maybe. That I'd get jealous and take it out on someone else and you'd hate me. The fuck thing is that you were gonna hate me if you're going to hate me, I'd rather it be because of something I did directly to you, right? That makes sense, sure, but what I don't get is why that even crossed your mind. Did you want me to hate you or something? Nah, that's not it. It's like, we both sat up and he stretched, looking crestfallen while he rubbed his face. Thought, what's the worst thing that happened to me? And what I could do to you. Then if you hated me, I could make a clean split and figure myself out. Then you'd not be, like, worried about making sure everyone else was getting along with me too. That's kinda dumb, Ty. The fuck is that supposed to mean? That you'd think that now of all times I'd be looking to randomly hate you just because. Hell, right after I was claiming that I was trying to save your life, and even willing to strip down in the backyard to keep you safe? Ty, come on. If that's not evidence enough of how important you are to me, then I don't know what is. My mouth suddenly felt dry, rasping out my next breath as I pulled the brakes on my train of thought. Well, it took me by surprise for sure. Do you love me? What? You know, like, at all? What the fuck? Where the fuck is this coming from? I don't know, everything's complicated, and I just remember things being simpler. What am I to you? A brother? Less than that? More than that? I'm gonna level with you. I don't know. I'd like to know what this feeling is, but it's scary as all hell. Sometimes it's a good feeling, sometimes bad. Sometimes it's just such a fucking downer that I'd rather it just not be there. Oh. Look, I know what you want me to say, but I just don't want to say it. What if I don't mean it? What if it turns out you get your hopes up and I'm just like, not able to return what you feel for me? But I haven't said how I feel yet. You're not exactly subtle. Plus, I kind of know how you'd say it anyway. Ty went quiet suddenly, not even sighing out. His eyes went to the floor and his tail remained deathly still. It's one of the last things David said to me anyway. What? Yeah, remember, the guide talk we had for like an hour? I remember. I never did figure out what it was about. Probably never will. It was just stuff I needed advice on. Is it all sorted out at least? Not really. Getting there, though. Part of that was David saying shit that made me feel really uncomfortable. Real uncomfortable. He just laughed it off, though. What sort of things? Ty's tail started to thump behind him again. And if I had the hinting suspicion that his cheeks were going right under his fur. Stupid stuff. Come on, tell me, whatever it was, it must have been good, right? Tail seems to think so. Snatching his tail so he could hold it against the bed, he sighed out. That he loved me, that he was proud I came asking for advice. Stuff like that. Wasn't the first time I'd done it, so it was just strange he'd say that stuff then of all times, right? Dad was the best. He was, yeah. We stared at each other for a few moments, just watching or waiting for the other to make the first move. I really am. I hope you know that. What? You really are what? Sorry. I feel like if what happened just didn't, things would be different now. Different? How? Dunno, maybe we'd have gone to the beach instead of coming here. Maybe we'd have made plans to move in somewhere together and have a place of our own. Is that something you still want? He shrugged and I thought it over. Well, regardless of where I go, I'll keep in mind to have a spare bedroom ready and waiting for if you need it. No matter whatever boyfriend I might have says. Thanks, Dave. Not pup. It feels weird to say now. You're not a kid and you're like more to me than just a pet, so fuck knows if I'll say it again. Well, do you prefer Ty or Tyson? He grumbled, mumbling something barely coherent, but I caught it all the same. I just like hearing your voice. Resting my head on his shoulder, I sighed out, feeling a little better. For me, I guess like saying... The comment hung in the air between us for a bit before I continued, wanting to explain why. Like, it's what I call you, right? That's a special thing for me because it's like a nickname, or like a thing I'm allowed to do because we're close, right? Yeah, sure as hell wouldn't let Haas call me that anyway. He has his own nickname as it is. Right. Randoms calling me that can get fucked too. I have a name. Okay, maybe dial it back a little. My point is that I like saying Ty because it tells me that we're close. I don't really care if others call you that. I care. Calling me that is your thing. It's like how you're Dave instead of just going by David, like, well, David. It also helps keep things a little less confusing, but I get what you mean, I think. Not confusing to me. You're just you, as much of a brat as you are. Careful, Ty. Otherwise, I might have to find a new nickname to call you by. Yeah, like you'd go and do that. I don't know, if Haas is calling you Big Dog now, maybe you could be a little bit... In a flash, Ty had his arm around my head and grinding a knuckle into the spot between my ears. Okay, I'm sorry, Well, is that you're about to call me? Because it better not have been what I think it was. It wasn't, I'm sorry! He let me go, but not before patting the fur on my head back down. Try calling me a bitch again and see what happens. Don't tempt me! I smiled as I saw Ty shake with laughter. His spirits clearly high. It was almost contagious, and I found myself snickering alongside him as I rubbed my head. I checked the time on my phone quickly and saw that we still didn't have any reception. Thought caused me to frown, but more than that, I realized just how long we'd been chatting for. Haas and Sal are probably wondering where you are. Fuck it, you're more important. I'll be fine until later. I just like that we talked things out. What's happening later? Oh, well, I have a few things I need to let you guys know. I never did really get around to explaining what happened, but already I could feel the thought of Jack and his knife starting to creep into the front of my memory. Hey, it's alright. You're safe. Yeah. Yeah, I'm safe, right? I just said that. No, that's not what I meant. Something else is... Ty frowned as he watched me. I left my thought there, unsure exactly of how to explain it. Well, if you're in trouble, you better tell me. I'm not sure, at least not yet. What I mean is that, I groaned, rubbing my face. Tyson threw an arm over my shoulder, and that made me feel somewhat less apprehensive about the talk I needed to have tonight. Come on, let's go hang with Haas and Sal until you're ready. We're going to leave off here tonight. Well, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.